Today on Gamer's Couch.
Specter Ops.
Hello, welcome to the couch. It's not Metal Gear, but
It's
kind
close.
of.
It's close.
Very close. Welcome to Gamer's Couch. I'm Sarah, the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and this is my lovely husband Daniel. And we're talking board games. Go figure. Today, well, it says Gamer's Couch and title.
Wait, I thought this was a tutorial package for sneaking, breaking, entering, on-site procurement thingy.
No, that's next week. Whatever. We are talking Specter Ops today, and we start with rules and gameplay. That's his part to explain. Then we talk about what we liked and not liked about the game, and then we talk about funny stories and any kind of experiences that we had while playing this game. So, sweetheart, would you please do us the honors and tell us all about Specter Ops?
So the full title is actually Specter Ops Shadow of Babel, although Shadow of Babel does not really show up on the box. It just says so in the manual. There's a very thinly veiled story thing that says there's this corporation called Raxon Global that took over all of humanity, and it's a very dystopian future where that company defines what everybody should do. Such unnecessary things as creativity and arts and stuff, or emotions in general, have been thrown out of the window, and since then humans, do less war, so it's a great time for everybody. However, there's a resistance group that does see otherwise and wants to break and enter into the facilities of Raxon and steal the plans for a bipedal nuclear war. No, wait, that's steal stuff. There's actually, just to put this out right away, the designer showed up on, I think, one of the Dice Tower things that said he was heavily inspired by Metal Gear. And since I really like Metal Gear, that was the draw for me to grab this and go with it. So if I may say something that refers to a video game that has no ties to this and has no license tie-in to this, bear with me. This is the closest we might get to having a Metal Gear board game.
You never know what the future will bring. Maybe
True,
one day
true.
somebody will make one.
And I know there's a Metal Gear themed Risk game out there, but I mean that works as well if you have to move around Metal Gears and try to do the nuclear deterrent thing. But this is the sneaking part, and let's go into this. So I'll only show this once because this is huge. This is the facility of Raxon. You may not see it because it's... You have to be very laid back to enjoy this game. You may not be able to see this, but there's coordinates marked on this. You have letters and numbers, and
we can
hold this up a little bit closer. It's really difficult to see on camera because that is... it's
we can take the sheet as a reference. You can really see that here.
Colorless thing there.
You can have this as a mini board.
This is the same board in paper form in small. This is actually what the resistance sneaking the snake? No, the guy who's sneaking into this thing is using. So you can see all those spaces here have a letter and a number. And this is one of the games where one player tries to move undetected and is marking his movements on this sheet, while the others are on the board and try to look for him. And as you can see, there's a lot of alleys, but there's a lot of spaces where you can be where you're not seen. At the beginning of the game, you choose which sneaky guy do you want to play. Do you want to play Spider, the woman with some exoskeleton spider legs? Do you want to play Orang Utang, which is a pretty beefy guy with, it seems, either he has been genetically modified or he has...
a lot of armor.
or he has some cybernetic enhancements or something like that. So just to thematic wise, this is future stuff. So there's bioengineering, there's a lot of cybernetics going on. This is pretty close to that video game. Then there's Cobra guy with a sword. Yeah, it's Great Fox. Let's not go around there. There's Blue Jay, which is not a mockingjay, but a hacker. And she's good at hacking stuff because she has glowy things around her, glowy holograms. If you're going out into the streets and see someone with glowy holograms around them, you know they're a hacker. So be careful. Your Facebook account is gone by that point. And if you're looking at this video in 20 years and wonder what Facebook is, it's the thing where...
Go to the archives of the internet.
It's the thing where we make fools of ourselves by posting pictures. On the opposing force, for the corporation, you have the Hunters with Revolver Ocelot, the gun. You have Psycho Mantis, also known as the Puppet. You have, well, the Beast. No, there's no Metal Gear. You have the Prophet, which is a different aspect of Psycho Mantis, I guess. Well, or you could say it's the Sorrow. It comes close. Obviously, all of these have different abilities, and whatever you're playing greatly affects how the game works out. In general, it'll go like this. First, the resistance fighter is making his move, and you always start on N1 up here, and the fighters are, I think, actually where the hunters are starting depends on how many players are in the game. The sneaky guy makes his turn and will move up to 4 spaces. You may move orthogonally or diagonally. As long as you move up to 4, you're good. In secret on this sheet. Afterwards, all the hunters will move. Obviously, since you're hiding, well, you're not placing your, and this is the next part, pretty awesome looking mini onto
have to be painted.
Yeah, if I knew someone who could do that,
Yeah. You cannot go on business trip next week. You gotta paint the new these figurines and the new Master Mystic figurines and Zombie Side.
Sure.
Got some tasks for you.
So you're moving up to 4 spaces, and then the hunters move in a similar fashion, also up to 4 spaces. There's a little extra that the hunters have available. They can use a car. The car can move up to 10 spaces. However, and I hope you can see that on this tiny block because the other one is big. There's lanes here that have 2 spaces next to each other. Pretty much everything else in the game is a corridor of 1 space. So the car is only allowed to move across these wide areas, and as I said, up to 10 turns per round. So you can use that to move you guys on as a group quickly around the map and do some interesting stuff. In terms of vision, your hunters can only see in orthogonal directions. And for that purpose, the streets, those 2 fields, count as 1 line, so it doesn't matter if they're on this space or on that space. The way that works is you don't necessarily see where the guy who's sneaking around is, but you may see his last position. So if your hunter is standing in a corridor and someone is sneaking past you, they don't put their mini onto the board. They just indicate to you where you've last seen the guy. Meaning, now I'm taking one of these. Let's say your hunter is standing here and can look right into this corridor, and your sneaking guy is standing here or here and moving down. Even if he says, okay, I'm going here, here, and then diagonally here, he would have to place the last scene token on this space here, so the last scene space where somebody could have moved. The purpose or the intent of that is the hunter here does not necessarily know if he's last seen you here, if you went that way or if you went that way. He just knows that you were there, making things a little bit more interesting in terms of how to corner the guy who's sneaking around. You have to move to different objectives, and again, coming back to this, there's spaces here with numbers, with die numbers on them. At the beginning of the game, you roll for the objectives you have to go to. There's one area here, one area here, one here, and one here. And the hunters only know that you have to go to one of these general areas and have to claim an objective. To claim an objective, you have to start your turn next to that objective, and then it gets turned over on the board. So the hunters actually know if you took one of the objective markers, and after you've done that, you have to escape. Again, this sheet shows you the little arrows up here and there and there. These are your escape points. So if you grabbed all the objectives, you have to sneak up again and escape the facility before the game is over. Ways to lose as the infiltration guy, just to come up with different words for sneaky guy, is you have to do all that in 40 turns, or you get killed by the hunters. So if you did not manage to grab all the objectives and escape with turn 40, the hunters win, or if the hunters find you and shoot at you and kill you, same thing. You can see up here, your hunter has a number of hit points. Depending on traits, special equipment, you can increase that. If you're playing a 4-player game, you get 2 additional hit points, and that's pretty much it. To fight a sneaky guy with your hunters, you pretty much, if you see him, you have to roll a die, and if you roll same or higher the number of spaces he's away from you, you inflict a wound. So combat is really easily handled in this game. There's not much in terms of defense. Again, there's equipment that might help you, but the main purpose of this game is don't be found and cornered by the hunters, grab your objectives, and, well, get out again. If you haven't seen it so far, there's the 40 move track on here, so not only does that help you to show how many moves are still in the game, but it helps you actually to, well, explain, oh, I started here and then I moved there and there and there, and to have a history of what your moves were during that game. So let's take a closer look at our protagonists. Let's start with the Filthy Rebels. So, as I said, you have Blue Jay, who's a hacker, and her special ability is that she may complete mission objectives from 2 spaces away. So she does not actually have to sit next to the objective at the start of her turn to claim the objective, which is pretty cool. You have Cobra, not Cobra Commander, but that's gone Grey Fox. It's more, as I said, it's more appropriate. When a hunter ends its move on Cobra, stun that hunter. It cannot attack. When a hunter ends its move orthogonally adjacent to Cobra, you may roll a die on a result of 4+, stun that hunter. It cannot attack. So stunning is essentially you miss your turn kind of mechanic. So Cobra is pretty annoying, because whenever you get close to him, he may stun you and then escape. So he's a close combat specialist. Orang-Utan, well, the ape guy, starts the game with 2 additional hit points, which makes him tougher, so he doesn't mind being detected that much as long as you roll badly, or at least he can take 2 further rolls. And last but not least, Spider, which makes it harder for you to hit her because she has evasion, which deducts 2 from your roll if you're 3 spaces or closer. On the hunting party side, you have a number of abilities, and some of them are passive, some are active. So you have, for example, the Prophet, who has mind reading, meaning he gets an additional +2 to all his die rolls, which makes him pretty good. Don't get too close to him, he might hit you more easily than all the others. Then he has precognition, and players must announce when they're going to complete an objective next round. They don't have to tell you which one. But that is pretty nice. You get an additional turn while warning up ahead if someone's going to take an objective, and that may be enough time to move everybody to the car and drive down or drive closer to get that. You also get post-cognition. You may use post-cognition instead of moving the prophet, and the agent player must announce which space the agent was located 2 turns ago. And that's where the movement track is handy again as well. So this is one of the many occasions where the agent, the rebellion player, sometimes must disclose information to the hunters depending on their abilities. Obviously, you're not allowed to lie about that, but there's one exception once we get to the 5-player game. You have the gun, the sharpshooter, or, well, for me it's revolver ocelot. So he has sharpshooting, so he's rolling 2 dice. Well, he could also be sniper wolf, but he's a guy, so he has to be revolver ocelot. So, he's sharpshooting, so he rolls 2 dice. He has quick draw, and whenever you're in the agent's turn, so if you're playing sneaky guy, if the agent is spotted by the gun, roll 1 die. On a result greater than or equal to the distance from the last scene marker, he loses 1 hit point. So this guy has an immediate auto hit shot on the agent, and he does not actually need to find him and spot him. He just can sit there and wait till he crosses his path, and if he rolls good enough, he gets an additional hit in. You can also have a sniper shot, and that's after moving the gun. If the agent is not visible, you may choose a direction, and the gun has vision in that direction, and if the agent is spotted, the agent loses 1 hit point automatically, which is like another guaranteed thing. With this one, you don't even have to roll, and it goes across the entire map, making the gun pretty effective on long corridors. We have the puppet, who can, instead of moving the puppet on a turn, you may move your vehicle even if it's unoccupied. So he's kind of a regular character who can remote control machines. What I didn't explain so far is the vehicle. Obviously, someone has to be driving it, so more than one player can enter the vehicle. You can actually enter it with all the hunters. The agent may never enter it. And have one drive everybody else, and the puppet can do that without being in the vehicle, which is also, again, nice because you can stay at one spot and keep watch there and carry over the other guys to some other place. You can also use the remote sensor, and that means instead of moving him, you can use the vehicle's motion sensor, which I haven't explained so far. So if you're sitting in the vehicle or playing the puppet, you can activate the motion sensor, which gives you a general north, east, west, south indicator where the agent is. That's another thing where he has to disclose information to you. However, that only works if the agent moved 3 or more spaces in the last turn. If he didn't, he doesn't have to tell you anything. He may not lie about it, but he doesn't need to tell you where you are at that point. And obviously you just need to check from the position of the vehicle where is the hunter. There's a little helping thing on here with this little compass icon that gives you an indication, but it's essentially the car is the sensor, and wherever the car is, if you ping, and just one ping, as the
Vasily,
the Scottish Russian said, that gives you a rough indicator where the enemy is. And the last of the hunters, the beast, has, after moving the beast, if you moved him 3 or fewer spaces, any agent within 4 spaces must declare that they are close. So he's smelling them out, which is pretty cool. He has brutal strength, so if he ends his movement sharing a space with the agent, roll a die. On a result of 5+, the agent loses 1 hit point. So he's just, he's almost like like Cobra, but as a hunter form. And he has quadruple movement. He may move 5 spaces on a turn, but can only attack agents he shares a space with during that turn. So he's super fast, but not the shooty kind of guy. He's the close combat kind of guy. And that's the players. You may augment your experience as an agent or a sneaky guy by bringing equipment cards or devices. which are sometimes limited to what agent is allowed to use that. For example, you have a stealth field. This says, do not reveal this card until the start of your next turn. Your agent is only visible if it is within 2 spaces of a hunter. Rotate this card 90 degrees, show that it's been used. So some of these cards, you have to show all the other guys that they used them, and some are kept face down still. You never know, does he have another stealth field? Was that a stealth field that he used, or something different? Yeah, can see that. So if I'm looking at this here, if it has the little logo on here, then it's of the hunter. Then that means it's only made for that hunter. For example, the velocity blade is only used for Cobra. Allows it to do more effective stuff. The holo decoy is for the hacking girl, and so on. Pulling a little. I'm thinking on the total recall there, without playing Arnie. Yeah,
Because then you have to have an Austrian accent.
Right.
And that's rather difficult sometimes.
Correct. That is the game so far. If you're playing 2 players, then the hunter guy is playing 2 hunters. Otherwise, you just scale up. As I said, the position is a little bit dependent on how many players are playing the game. You're always just one agent. It's just the hunters that get more and better. But depending on that, you get either more equipment, or you get an additional exit, or you get a head start so that the hunters are starting a little bit further down, and so on. If you're playing a 5-player game, things get a little bit interesting. You'll be getting these assignment cards, and one is not as the other, because there's a traitor in between the hunters if you're playing with 5 players. Now, that traitor has to keep his allegiance secret for obvious reasons. And remember when I said you're not allowed to lie about stuff? Well, if the traitor is the one, and actually since these are handed out by the agent, so the agent actually knows who the traitor is on the enemy team. And let's say we're playing a 5-player game, Sarah's the traitor and I'm the agent, and Sarah says, I want to send 1 ping. And I moved 4 spaces, I might say, yeah, well, you don't find anything, because while she may see my position, I can just infer that she's lying about it when necessary. I can also protect her by saying the truth, and in some cases you have to, because if there's more than one guy in the car who would potentially see the result of that ping, you have to tell the truth. And also you don't want your traitor friend to be revealed. Now, if you're playing with a traitor, that traitor is kind of not able to claim objectives. He's playing a hunter after all. If he ever gets, if the other find out who's the traitor, he just has to keep running away and not die, essentially, until the agent grabbed all the objectives and escaped. To find out who a traitor is, one way is, if, let's say, again, Sarah is right next to me, and I don't reveal my position because I know she wouldn't tell what my position is, and some other hunter moves into the view space, it becomes very apparent that she would have seen me, then all the other players know that she's been revealed as a traitor. Still, even without being sure who the traitor is, with that mechanic, you can still vote among the hunters who's able to or who's allowed to use the car, so that the traitor is not driving it away, far away, and making your life very, very complicated. I think that's all you need to know to have a general idea about this game. And I think we go over to section 2 for...
Yeah! Like and dislike.
Like and dislike.
You want me to start?
Metal Gear. Starting. Yeah, please go.
Oh boy, by the way, I just have to say you threw in so many references to movies or music that I really, really like that I had a hard time not giggling through the whole rules and gameplay section. So I'm very proud of myself for not having ruined the video.
Huh? I'm just going to do the snake thing. I'm just going to repeat major
didn't
points.
ruin your part. Why are you setting upon ruining mine?
Shut up, Autocom. No, that's not what's snake.
Well, I might punish you with not having noodles tonight if you're not being nice, because we're shooting this one day ahead. And today is, before I go into the real section, today is National Cthulhu Eats Spaghetti Day. So of course we're having pasta today, and I might punish you with not having any if you're keeping the snake thing up.
Snake noodles.
Also called spaghetti. Anyways, now for the game. Likes and dislikes. So I really, really liked the artwork and the quality of the components once unpacked. Especially on the box. I really like boxes that do have the glossy parts and the matte parts. I just think it adds something in regards to depth or perspective to the game. It's just I'm sucker for these kind of things, at least if it's on the box. I like the minis here. They're actually worth painting them. I think they're detailed enough for you to paint them, so that's a big plus. They're not those rubbery minis, but the real plastic kind of figurines, so big plus there. One thing that I'm not really happy with is the board itself. Though I love the artwork and the size of the board and the colors and everything, it's really hard. Can you pass me the board, please? It's really hard with those.
When I did all this thing?
The glossy part. So while I really, really like it on the box, I'm having a hard time on the board, because usually you have like a big lamp on your ceiling, and it's a huge glare when you sit on the table and you try to wobble around and see the roster there. So not very happy about that.
I think they made them this translucent reflecting thing, but it's still someone at the table has a really hard time seeing where.
And while you maybe see the numbers, the glossy numbers from your angle, then you have a problem with actually seeing the space. If there's if it's a street or if it's a building or whatever. So one of those two things is always very difficult to see. Now I guess I know why they did the glossy thing, because otherwise you would have probably have done a white number print on there, and that just takes away from the feel and the design of the board.
I think they went with it to have the maximum contrast, but
but still have the dark feel of the board and that dangerous setting that you're in story-wise with that game. Though I don't like the glossy parts, I still prefer it to a white print, I have to say, which is like totally weird. But I think I'd rather accept not having to wobble my head to see the numbers of the spaces, or to see how many spaces I can actually go, or see if it's a building or street, rather than having a board that is not consistent and doesn't and takes me out of the feel of the game. So
it's actually not a bad idea of obviously the agent needs these, but have one for others to look at.
One sheet
that you don't use to note down stuff, just to take. Oh, okay. There's
make it easier. On the other hand, and that goes a tiny bit into the experiences, since we had the glossy thing with so many players, we actually incorporated that into our communication for the hunting party at the table. So that takes a bit away of the not being very fond of the glossy parts on the board. However, if there would have been an option that is not the glossy or the white print, I would have definitely preferred the third option that I can't come up with on the spot. I have to say I'm not a Metal Gear gamer. I really like the music score though of all the games. I really sucker for that, but I never played it.
Pro tip: get some Metal Gear soundtrack and
have it play through the game.
And the best thing to do, have the theme that's played once you're detected in Metal Gear, whenever the agent is detected.
Yeah,
and he has to run away. It adds considerably to the game.
Yeah, and it's just really funny, especially if you have players at the table that played the hell out of any kind of Metal Gear game. So again, experiences part actually. It was really lovely. So I'm only so much familiar with the Metal Gear stories. I'm not in there in depth.
It's not related to this at all.
No, but I watched you play. I think it was 4. Mm-hmm. And just got a bit of the feel and the story and the characters, and it's actually really nice to have the same kind of feel to the characters and to the gameplay over the top. Yeah, and I really liked that. Though I have to say, with the mechanics of the game, for me personally, there was no need of a story and a universe to really like this game, but it just added that tiny bit of detail that I just appreciate because I'm a story lover.
And it's a same kind of dystopian you would find in Hunger Games or other,
for
other
example,
things that
yes,
you like,
or The Maze, or I don't know, Insurgent, whatever, these kinds of universes.
That's a romantic movie.
Yeah, but you read it and then come back to me.
iTunes told me that it's a romantic movie, so I'm not
it is. The second is more romantic than action.
As people flying through the air with guns in hand.
And it says romance.
It's a romance.
Anyways, no, I just really liked the feel and the way the character and the board and the colors and everything put the kind of Metal Gear feel to Specter Ops to the game.
If
nice.
you're sick of us saying Metal Gear,
just think strawberry.
Other things that come close to this kind of dystopian, not so over the top, is obviously
Netrunner.
I was going to say in terms of movie reference. Since Hideo Kojima was heavily inspired by Escape from New York and Escape from L.A., that is almost the same kind of this neon and over the top characters. It's pretty cool.
I just really liked it.
And this is all you get in terms of story.
Yeah.
So this is an email from Rexon Global talking about you need to send the hunters, find the agent, and this is the letter from the resistance saying, we have to liberate everything. So if I had to add something to that, what I would like to see, maybe in the future, is something that fleshes the environment out a little bit more, maybe, or the best way for me would be by introducing different kinds of objectives to do. While that is perfectly fine, it's if you're playing Scotland Yard or any other game that has a similar vein of you have hidden movement of one player and the other's trying to find him, you don't really care about why you're hunting Mr. X or the guy who's invisible on the map. But if you put out a cool looking universe like that, I might want to know more about
for expansions or whatever. One thing that I really liked with this game, and you already said that this mechanic or the base mechanic was already published with Scotland Yard.
Yeah, I
really liked the traitor mechanic in this one. I prefer it. Don't go in. Actually prefer it to the 2 to 4 players where you don't have a trader, because it makes it way more difficult on a different kind of level for the agent and the trader to actually win the game. I mean, yes, the hunting party, and now I'm making that a reference. And if you're if you're knowledgeable about taste in music, you might know why I'm giggling inside. If the hunters get so much stronger the more they are in comparison to just one agent with a trader, it's kind of easier, but then again not, because it's really hard to lie as the trader and not to...
Well, you don't lie as the traitor.
No, but I mean, the longer the game goes on, the more you just accuse each other for being the traitor. And at one point, you really have to have a poker face. And if you don't, it's just a different kind of level of difficult for the agent and the traitor to, well, win. But I really like that part of the game.
While that... that doesn't seem like a big thing, that last scene marker. That's a really good start to try to get into other people's heads. If you're playing the agent, you want to really always, with every move that you make, you want to keep him in doubt. Did he go left? Did he go right? Was that a decoy? Was that actually him? And with the traitor introduced, you get another level of, did he just say that because of... or did he really take the wound, or is it not the wound because it's actually his partner and stuff like that. So I like the suspense, which we do have a lot in Resistance or Avalon or these kinds of games, compared with the main mechanic of Scotland Yard. Inconsistencies will occur, like... we might go into the gameplay experience.
We will.
Like being able to see someone on the radar when you ping it, you know, okay, he's in that direction, but then you have the beast smell, and then are you smelling me? But that's in an entirely different area. It's like, okay, so who of these two is lying? Or are we kind of misinterpreting the data that we...
and then of course you accuse each other on the table, and that adds so much to the tense and, well, I don't want to say anxious, but kind of anxious feeling on the table. A lot of communication, a lot of accusation, a lot of bickering, and sometimes the agent just sits there and enjoys everybody else arguing at the table whom the traitor is. So I prefer the 5-player game to all the other games, though. We didn't play it with 2 players, but I guess this game's sweet spot is 4 and 5 players. I think the more. If you're 2 people and you as one person play the agent and the other one plays 2 hunters, there's not really communication at the table, which I think this game really benefits from. So I wouldn't talk like left brain to right brain because I play 2 hunters. Where am I going? What do I want to do?
You have way better control than...
Sure. But I really liked us just talking and planning on the board. How do we... I mean, that kind of thing. I really liked it.
On one hand, I have to say, board games better with more people, which it's certainly the pressure here is way higher, and I'm close to saying that the 5-player game is almost like a different game with a traitor in there, and I like both. So I like the variant where you have just 3 hunters or 2 hunters, and the communication aspect of that. It seems really great to outwit all the other players at the table, being the agent, and it'll happen quite often that people at the table will say, he's either there or he's there, and the agent will have sweat on his brow because they point right at the position where he's actually in, and then
poker face.
then you have to be quiet and let the discussion move away from you to some other place.
Not make any noise, just sit there calm with a poker face and not giving anything away.
A tip I might give, what we did on the very first play with the group, was that I actually did not play. I was just there to answer rules questions. The manual is very thin. I think it's literally just 4 pages. And it's not super difficult, but there is sometimes timing issues, and I think most of them are explained in here. But it's actually quite good for your first game if you're playing, especially if you're playing Agent for the first time, to have someone to help you figure out how some of these rules work, how that last place marker works, and how you can do that.
Yeah, it was really, really nice that you could help Sticks with the first run, because he had, just to make sure that he doesn't play rules wrong and is even stronger than he was supposed to be. Yeah. But before we go into experiences and funny stories, let's rate. What's your rating of the game?
This gets Rex out of Ray.
Okay. And now I have to think what that means for you.
Well, it's Metal Gear Rex and Metal Gear Ray.
Whatever.
It could also be two Rex and 1 Ray out of 1 Arsenal Gear.
Oh, now that I understand. For me, on my personal scale of 1 to awesome, this is a 9. Almost awesome, just the board thing is 1 point that I had to deduct. But other than that, this is a lovely game. It looks so complicated. It's not, and it's a hell of a lot of fun to play, especially with our weird group of people that we play games with. And that is the perfect segue, I think, into our funny stories and experiences of this game. Now, we played it twice. First round, as he said, he set out so we didn't play with the trader. And the agent was always Sticks. He was the agent in both games. And the rest of us tried to catch him. Now, the second round, we played with a full set, meaning that we had a trader. And in the first game, there was...
Guess who's the trader?
No. Hold it. In the first game, there was this funny occasion that I had to roll the dice to see if I could hit him. And it was a chance of like 2% to actually hit him, because I needed a really, really high number and stuff. Guess what? Killed him. And he was, kind of upset, but not like, oh, what the fuck? But like, oh, goddamn, why? No! You hit me, you killed me, and you made so much damage. So then I got back to the gaming table after a tiny pause, and we had all the cards with our assignment, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna play the same character again. I played Gunn, by the way, who's really cool for long distance shots. Very strong there, and of course I had the trader card, and Sticks actually chose, and this was really clever on his part, he chose the one that stuns you. What was he called? The guy Cobra. So he played Cobra, was really strong on close combat, and with me being his partner, he was really good on long distance shots, being safe there, because my hits wouldn't actually wound him. So it was a really clever choice of him.
In that case, with the traitor mechanic, the first time she hit him, he pretended to make a mark on his sheet, but he actually did not take a wound because, he's faking it. He's a faker.
I'm shooting with chewing gum at him.
You're shooting with cameras.
Yeah, mosquitoes. But it was really difficult at one point. Like the last third of that game, it was really difficult to keep a straight face and be consistent with my opinions, and him not saying, oh no, I took just 1 wood instead of actually 2 because somebody else hit him. So to cover each other's asses got more and more difficult the longer the game went on.
Yeah.
And of course you suspected I was the traitor quite a few times, and me bouncing back from that's like, no, that's not logical. I'm not the traitor. Look here and here and this and that. I can't be the traitor. Things like that. This is really exhausting.
Yeah, and you
wow.
You end up then doing things always in pairs because
to make sure.
Yeah. That's actually a good thing to do, to find out who the traitor is. But then again, it's a bad thing because you actually have to spread out and to find him.
Yeah.
Specifically in that game with Cobra, he's super annoying because most of the time when you find him, he stuns you because of how the corridors are so close. That's.
Yeah, this was a very exhausting game, very tense. But totally awesome. I really, really enjoyed it. But I think, well, we played it twice one night, but we couldn't have gone for a 3rd round. I think I think
even twice pushed it.
Pushed it really, really hard.
I'd put it in the same kind of exhausting space as Battlestar.
Yeah.
Although it is entirely different in terms of mechanic.
Traitor mechanic in there. So. I mean, with the smaller games like Resistance or Avalon, I don't care about the poker face trying to outwit the other kind of mechanic. But with bigger games like Battlestar or Specter Ups, it's really exhausting. Brain melts up there after 1 or 2 games. So, yeah. But it's really fun to play, I have to say. You know, I really liked the communication of the hunters on the table. Of course, the strategy kind of part, like where do we want to go? What is the best and most efficient way to get the agent? And also the bickering and bitching, of course. If somebody rolled badly or other things happened, like the traitor shit. Yeah. It was just really a lovely night playing the game. So, well done for getting that game for us.
Now you have to do the outro.
Oh yeah, don't go with the Metal Gear. We could have the copyright. Goddamn, my favorite songs from Metal Gear 2, where the lady sings like
That's
I think it was 2. No,
then 1 or 4.
Then your iTunes library is not really named right.
It's 1.
Okay, then it's 1. I really like the song. It would be perfect for the outro. So if you have it, play
it
along.
That is actually the outro song of 1.
Oh,
okay.
The song
is called "The Best Is Yet to Come."
Yeah. So if you have that song, play it along the outro. Oh no, not you! Don't do the church choir, please. You're not a girl. You have not that lovely high-pitched voice. So thank you very much for watching. Please leave your comments in the comment section below. Also, if you feel like pushing that thumbs up button, subscribing, sharing this video, go ahead. We'd appreciate that a lot. If you have time to game this weekend, go ahead, enjoy it. And we're gonna see you next week on the couch with a new game. I can tell you already, it's gotta do with some weird kinds of animals. So have fun, take good care, bye-bye.
I have you. That's another Metal Gear. I'm sorry. Goodbye!
Bye! We are talking about Specter Ops today, and we start off with gameplay and rules. That's his part. Too much coffee and espresso and blah blah blah. Yeah. Again, we're so gonna have bloopers. Thank you. I hate you.
Outro now.
Can we now do it? Okay. Thank you.
Ba-da-da-da-da. Yep, please.
Outro.
Metal Gear.
outro. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Take good care, have fun, enjoy the weekend. If you have any comments, shit again. Fuck bloopers. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any comments, questions, anything, leave it in the comment section below. Also, if you feel like hitting that thumbs up button or sharing, liking, or whatever. Shit, fuck, this can't be true. Again. Wait. Don't look at me.
Goodbye, everyone. Like, subscribe.
It's all the bloopers. We're still...
Ja, das dauert jetzt noch eine Stunde, bis du das mal
Shut it.